Good morning, true crime friends. How y'all doing? Listen, we have a lot of ground to cover today. The Commonwealth rested in the state of Massachusetts versus Brian Walsh. Yo, so much happened on trial day 8. We're going to get into every little bit of it. But first, you know what you need to do. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it out, and hype the video. YouTube gives you 3 hypes a week. I have yet to figure out what they are doing with these hypes. But if you could just go on and hype the channel, I would really appreciate it. Me and you, we're going to get to 30,000 subscribers together. Okay, so Jim Mulu took the stand yesterday. And you know, yesterday I was like, Fruit Loop, I could not figure out this man's name. It was not landing in my ears right. And so when he took the stand, honestly, I just wanted him to spell the whole thing because it was not landing. Turns out he's Turkish or of Turkish descent. And his name is Jim, G-E-M, like a gemstone, also spelled C-E-M. I don't understand that, but okay. And Mutlu, M-U-T-L-U. So definitely not Boot Loop or Fruit Loop. Okay, duly noted. Anyway, Jim Mulu met Brian at some sort of like leadership conference or whatever that that was held there in Boston. And during this leadership conference, you had to like get a buddy. And so the two of them became buddies. Oh Lord, have I talked my throat dry already? Hang on. They became buddies and they also became fast friends. And then Brian introduced Jim to his wife, Anna, and they were just like, oh my God, you love coffee. I love coffee. Clearly we're soulmates, right? Just BFFs. And Jim was like, oh, they were like family to me. This is what you need to understand. Anna is from another country. Jim is from another country. And sometimes people who like don't have family geographically nearby form families of choice with like a very, very, very close bond with somebody. Even if you haven't known them very long, you're like, your spirit feels like it goes with my spirit. So me and you were going to be pals. And I feel like that's what happened here. Plus Anna is from the hospitality business, which tends to be people who are like warm and open and whatever. Okay, so anyway. Jim hires Anna to be his like chief of staff, his right hand. And so she's doing everything from high level stuff to going to get his dry cleaning. They were just like hand in glove. They worked together and they loved each other in like a friend sort of way, like father, daughter, brother, sister, not in a romantic kind of way or whatever, right? So Jim is on the stand and Anna worked for Jim for a couple of years, and then she got this really amazing job offer to move to DC that was paying her $300,000. And Jim was upset. He was like, wait, she's my right hand. But then he was like, okay, I love Anna. I want the best for her and her family. Her family is like my family. Her kids are like my grandkids. They're like, I love them so much. And I was like, oh, this is such a heartwarming story, except for the unfortunate unaliving part of it. So December 29th, couple days before Anna slips the surly bonds of this earth, right? Her and Jim get on the phone and have a phone call. He called her to congratulate her about a real estate transaction. But you know how it is, you with a friend, you start talking about other things. And she's like, look, I don't know what to do. I'm tired. I'm upset. The traveling back and forth is killing me. She'd been in her new job for 9 months. She was making a lot of money. That was helping the family out a lot. But she was like, look, Brian, this is Mama Luke. I'm at the end of my rope with him. And Jim was like, yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. So they start talking about New Year's Eve. And Anna's like, I know you. You're not going to do anything. Come to our house. We'll have a lovely evening together. We'll have dinner. We'll chat. It'll just be me and you and my no-account husband. You know how good he is, my husband is of a cook. He's going to make us a nice meal and it's going to be wonderful. And I was like, okay. So Jim goes into this situation knowing about the marital problems between Anna and Brian. Jim comes to the house. Anna runs out of the house, no coat on, and throws her arms around Jim. Is like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. And I was just like, okay. But anytime Jim mentioned the marital problems that he had been told by Anna, the defense was like, objection, truth telling. If they keep saying stuff like that, my client's going to get convicted. So judge, please make them stop. And the judge was like, I mean, Granted, I guess, whatever. Anyway, Jim tells us that Anna says she's stressed about the kids. She's stressed about the marriage. She's stressed about travel. But that New Year's Eve went off without a hitch. It was warm. They were laughing. They were talking. They had a really nice time. Brian was standing there with a big old knife cooking dinner, looking sideways at his wife like, Look, that's the gospel according to Kathy. That's not what he said, but I feel in my spirit like that's what happened. He was like, I'm chopping this celery. Later, I'm going to chop her up. Anyway, so they have a lovely evening. And when Jim goes to recount like the evening and the time that he spent with them, he's trying so hard not to cry. And I was like, oh my God. He was like, blinking real hard and looking up and open his mouth. It almost looked like he was yawning, but he was clearly very emotional. And I was like, oh my God, I just wanted to go give him a hug, through the TV. And then he talks about how one of Anna and Brian's kids came downstairs to join them for a few minutes. Listen, remember Brian Walsh said that oldest son, anytime he heard a noise, he would come down and investigate and check things out. If you have a bunch of kids like I have a bunch of kids, there's always one who's the detective in the family. In the Murdaugh family, it was Paul Murdoch. In my family, it's that middle boy. Look, the roof could fall in and some of my sons would be like, please don't let this mess up my video game. My middle son is like, what's happening? Who's here? I want to know. Tell me every single thing. Oh, you told me go back upstairs. I'm going to sit in this corner and watch everything. He's the detective of the family. That oldest boy, the detective of the family. Did the police ever interview him? I have questions. So anyway, the little detective boy, the oldest son, comes down and is like, Jim, I missed you so much. I haven't seen you in so long. I love you. And I was like, this is so sad. And then the little boy gives Jim a necklace, like, a little homemade necklace or whatever, probably some macaroni shells or something. And Jim is like, thank you so much. I love it because this is like his little grandbaby, right? So the little boy gets shuffled back off to bed. The three of them, Brian, Anna, and Jim, have a lovely evening. They drink champagne, and then the champagne came in a box, and they wrote nice messages to each other about like the end of the old year, the beginning of the new year on the champagne box. It was really, really lovely. Now, during the course of this evening, just chitty chatting and having wine and champagne and stuff, Brian says, you know how much money I made last year? Sir, how is this a topic of conversation? But tell me every single thing because I want to know all your business. He was like, this past year, I made $50,000. You want to know how much Anna made with bonuses or whatever? $300,000. She made a lot of money. She did good. And then Brian Walsh was also very sure to mention he had lost his phone. And he's like, oh, I feel so free without it. Sir, me personally, as a gossip on the internet, I feel like you were setting up this unfortunate unalignment. That's just me. Anyway, so around 1:30 in the morning, Jim is like, it is late. Y'all have to get up early with the kids. I'm going to go ahead and go. And so he leaves the house around 1:30. And then 3 days later, Brian is like, hey, Jim, how you doing? Listen, have you seen Anna? She's been missing for about 3 days. And he was like, wait, what? What do you mean she's missing? I'm like family to y'all. She's been missing for 3 days and you never called. And then the next thing he says is, did you guys have a fight? Jim knows something. And Brian was like, fight? No. Why would you think that? You saw how warm we were. Did not put on a good performance. You were there with us. Why would you think there would be a fight? But Jim was like, I know you dirty Mama Luke and that prison thing and whatever else. Something in the milk ain't clean. And so Jim was struck by the fact that Brian was not panicked at all. He was just like, oh yeah, she's missing, but like, people go missing. Sus. Anyway, on cross-examination, the defense team is like, you respected Brian, didn't you? And Jim was like, yeah, of course. And then they ask, are you married? And he was like, no, y'all. Chats around the internet were like, not married, you say? Let me Google him. Dear Mr. Mootloop, can I marry you? Can I be Mrs. Mootloop? I promise not to call you Fruit Loop or a Boot Loop. Anyway, and so the defense was like, you spent a lot of time with Anna. Defense, what y'all saying? What are you trying to imply about this relationship? The defense and Mr. Mulu was like, yes, she and I worked together. We were very close. We were each other's family of choice. It was a really lovely setup. And then the defense also brought out that Anna was sometimes a little bit passive aggressive. Why are y'all trying to throw mud on this decedent? I don't like it. I don't like it. Then it's pointed out by the defense that when Brian went to court for the art fraud case, Jim, as a friend of the family, went and sat with Anna during some of the hearings, right? And Jim and Anna were holding hands as the judge pronounced, like, I, the judge, find you, whatever. They held hands because they were nervous. Meanwhile, Brian Walsh's evil mama, Diana Walsh, was looking askance. She was just like, Keep in mind, Diana Walsh ain't like her daughter-in-law. Anyway, you know she thought she was half a trollop. But she was just like, why is that man holding your wife's hand, Brian? And so Mr. Mulu was like, yes, I was holding her hand because we were nervous the way friends do. Okay. And then the defense asked, did Anna have a crush on you? And Jim was like, yeah, at some point she said she had a crush, but like, that was not a thing. She was like a daughter to me or like a sister. It was just a friendship, nothing more. And then they were like, and Mr. Mutlu, didn't you at one time have a romantic relationship with a different coworker? Oh, really? Tell me everything. So you had like a little affair with somebody you worked with. Okay. I see that the defense is, is trying to dirty up this adorable little man that we all want to be our boyfriend or grandpa or lover or whatever. Anyway, he was like, look, Anna and I were just friends. I helped her with real estate. She helped me in my business. That's all it was. I introduced her to Will Fastow, the lawyer down in D.C., the real estate attorney, the real estate agent down in D.C. that helped her find her house. He didn't know that Will and Anna were having an affair, but he was just like, I wanted the best for Anna and her whole entire family. I never saw them argue or anything like that. And then the defense brings out on New Year's Eve, when you go to the house, right? Anna runs out and jumps on you and is hugging you and you were walking around hand in hand. Defense, what are y'all trying to do? Are you trying to insinuate that Anna was dropping it low and spreading it wide for every man she met, for this good friend of the family, for the real estate agent here, there, and everywhere? And then the defense is like, right, on New Year's Eve, Brian Walsh told you that he lost his phone, didn't he? And Mr. Mutlu was like, yeah, he said it. He was saying how free he felt without it. Me personally, I think he was emphasizing the fact that he had lost his phone because he was trying to set up his alibi. Anyway, meanwhile, on January 4th, when Brian Walsh finally calls Jim and is like, hey boy, hey, she's missing, but it's not really like a big deal. They're looking for her down at work. And the defense was like, right, but on New Year's Eve, they were joyful. Everything was happy. Everything was good. Brian set up an elaborate sort of play for you to see while you were there. And Jim is like, people are complex. Look, any married couple or partnered couple anywhere will tell you, if you and your partner are having a disagreement, if family comes over, friends come over, somebody drops by, you're just like, hey, no, we're good. I love him. I'm going to clunk him on the head later this evening. But right now, no, everything is good. Everything is delightful. Anyway, and so they were like, why are you saying people are complex? You didn't see anything between them. And Jim was like, look, the point I'm making is that Brian Walsh was not panicking when he called about his wife being missing. I was nervous about it. Also, I knew that they had marital problems, y'all. You know, the defense was like, no, objection. If you keep saying marital problems, this dude's going to be convicted. Please don't. Or something like that. Finally, on redirect, the Commonwealth was like, tell us what you mean when you say people are complex. He was like, I'm just saying, I knew they had marital problems. Child, this man said marital problems one more time. Meanwhile, the defense is fully melting down. Like, stop telling the truth on my client. It's bad for us. We don't want him to go to jail for that long. And so the Commonwealth was just like, Okay, so what did Anna say to you specifically about this relationship? And Mr. Mulu was like, look, Jim said that the relationship was troubled, they had problems, whatever. And so then he got off the stand and I was like, bye, Mr. Mulu. I hope this comes out okay. Also that this Mama Luke goes to jail forever, ever, ever, and you get justice for your good friend Anna. Next, the probation officer gets up there and I was like, right. Because Brian Walsh was on home detention with like the ankle monitor or whatever. His ankle monitor did not have GPS. And so the probation lady got up there and just explained how everything worked. See, Brian had to set a schedule every week. He would send in an email to say like, hey, probation, hey, I'm going to go to drop off the kids and I'm going to go to the grocery store, blah, blah, blah. Every week he had to email in a schedule to tell where he was going to be. But a big part of it was the same. It was like a rotation. Every week he would do the same things. I drop off the kids between these hours. I go to the grocery store. I get a haircut. I do blah, blah, blah. There were certain things he was allowed to do. Doctor's appointments, lawyers, religious things, stuff like that. Anything else was not allowed. Restaurants were not allowed. And then at some point, the probation department got a notice that he left the house without authorization. So they called them up and they called him up and they was like, hey, Shady Mama Luke, listen, got a question for you. It says here that you were out of the house when you were not supposed to be. And he was like, oh, yeah. No, I was at school pickup. I don't know how it got all messed up. And the probation department was just like, oh, okay. Thanks for letting us know. No problem. Also, it turns out the school was on a scheduled holiday, but Brian never said to them, oh, January 1st, the school is going to be closed, so I'm not going to have to go pick up the kids, which, in my opinion, builds in time for Brian to be out of the house running all his little errands on his non-GPS monitor during a time when probation thought he was dropping kids off at school. Okay. Shady boots. Anyway, also, when Brian called the police to tell them that Anna was missing, he had to also report that to the probation department because anytime he had contact with law enforcement, he had to let them know. So he was like, hey, probation officer, I just want to let you know, my wife is slightly missing just a little bit. So I did have law enforcement contact, but trust me, I didn't do anything bad. Okay, sure you didn't. And they were like, okay, thanks so much. Thanks for letting us know. So January 4th is when Anna gets reported missing to the police. Brian has told the probation people, yeah, she's missing. So just so you know, I'm trying to dot all my I's and cross all my T's. He's like, but this week I also have some new appointments I need to add in. I need to go get a haircut. They were like, okay, that's standard. And he's like, and I need to go see my probate attorney. Y'all, this was a record scratch moment for me. A probate attorney. Now, a probate attorney is the attorney that you use when someone has passed away, so you can understand what the process looks like for the post-death period. At this time, Anna was missing. Nobody presumed that she had slipped the surly bonds of this earth, except for, of course, Brian Walsh, who did the wet works. Sir, the police are still actively looking for your wife, but you were down visiting a probate attorney, you say. Okay. I see you, sir. I see you. Anyway, then next they have up the person from Home Depot who is like, I'm in charge of all the cameras and whatever. January 1st, while school was closed and Brian had not told the probation department, he used his window of time that he was supposed to be using to drop off the kids to go down to the Home Depot. Okay. And then we see video of Brian at the store and he buys some very interesting items. He buys a Tyvek suit. He buys a hatchet, a whole bunch of baking soda, buckets, plastic sheeting, and a whole bunch of other stuff, spending $455. I am not used to moneyed unfortunate unalivers. Normally, if you got this kind of money, you could, outsource the work. But he's like, nah, I need this done right. I'm gonna do the wet works. So I'm gonna overspend on disassembly items. Okay. Then they have the property manager of a local apartment complex. And they were like, look, please see the video of Brian out here at some dumpster throwing stuff in on January 1st. He didn't report her missing for 3 days after that. Y'all, this boy done did it. Anyway. Then they had somebody from TJ Maxx up there. It's so interesting to me that he was like spending all this money at the Home Depot, and he didn't go to like Brooks Brothers to buy his replacement clothes. He's like, let me get over here to this Marshall and TJ Maxx. I personally love a deal. I'm not mad at the deal. I am mad that he's out here just tricking up all of her money, because you know he ain't make this kind of money to be buying clothes and extra buckets and stuff like that. But I have gone far afield. Anyway, the final witness for the Commonwealth was Anna's BFF. Y'all. This woman clearly loved Anna more than her husband, but I think everybody in this trial loved her more than her husband did. Anyway, the BFF is like, Anna and I were like sisters. I had heard her talk about, well, her lover, but she just mentioned, oh, he's my real estate agent and I have a little crush on him and it's no big deal. At Christmas Day, Brian had called the BFF to say, Anna's missing. I don't know where she is. Oh my goodness, can you tell me something? And then later Anna called and was like, hey BFF, hey, I'm so sorry he called you. My husband is an idiot. I hadn't talked to him in an hour and a half and he's sitting out like an APB, like I've gone missing. I'm worn out from this man. He's driving me crazy. And considering the evidence that has been revealed to us in this trial, I can see why she would be worn out from him. I'm worn out and he's not my husband. I'm just watching him on my TV. Anyway, December 29th. Now, see, this is what happened. Christmas, Anna goes home, spends time with the kids, and then at some point she drives or goes back to DC, does some work-related things, and then she flies back up for New Year's Eve, right? And so December 29th, her BFF is like, look, let's blow off some steam. We're going to go out to karaoke and dancing. Let me just, as an aside here, I know people love karaoke. They want to have some drinks and they want to sing and they want to laugh. Me personally, my opinion, karaoke is a crime against humanity. All that loud, bad singing, oh, I can't stand it. I know people love it, but I'm like, every time I hear it, I feel like, can somebody call the law? I just feel like these people should be arrested. Why are y'all doing this to my eardrums? It's terrible. Anyway, so while they were out doing dancing and karaoke and whatever else, Anna and her BFF had a BFF talk. You know how it is. When you get with your good girlfriend, you're like, girl, let me tell you everything that's going on. This boy is driving me out of my mind. So she tells her friend, look, I'm upset and I am at my breaking point. That is key, in my opinion. She's like, look, I found out, I thought this was all going to be wrapped up quickly with Brian's art fraud case. He's delaying things. He keeps doing all this stuff to slow things down and it's driving me crazy. My marriage is strained. He hasn't dibbled my kibbles and bits in over a year. It's a situation. All I want is for him to take responsibility, even if that means him going to jail. She wanted him to go to jail so she could get a moment of breath from him. She was just like, I'm so sick of him and his triflingness. I can't with him. Anna wanted Brian to take responsibility, resolve the case. Her and the kids could move to DC, set up a life, get things going. She had everything in her name in preparation for when he went to jail or for whatever happened. But Anna was also clear, I want my family together. I also really, really, really want him to go to jail. It's only for a year. Now, not to defend the scumbag that we know is Brian Walsh. I wouldn't want to go to jail for a year. I wouldn't want to go to jail for a day. And you can see Brian being like, what you mean? I got to go to jail for a year? She does not love me. Clearly, she wants me to go to jail for a year just because I cheated a lot of people out of a lot of money. That seems unfair. The BFF tells us that Brian was very, very needy. And Anna is running around. She's exhausted. And she is sick of him. He calls her all the time. He needs things all the time. And he just keeps saying, do you love me? Do you love me? Because I love you. And Brian would never say to Anna, I love you. He just kept saying, do you love me? Are you sure you love me? Do you really, really love me? And finally, she said to him, not as much as I used to, because this case is really taking a toll on me. This man with this ego and that knife in the drawer, he was like, oh, you don't love me, you say. Okay. And then it comes out that Anna told her BFF, Brian's mama saw this psychic, and the psychic says that I'm cheating on him. It's ridiculous. Brian thinks it's ridiculous too. Here's the thing. It was not ridiculous because she was, in fact, cheating on her husband. Now, I believe the mama was like, ooh, I went to see a psychic and the psychic told me these things. Number one, what psychic did you use? Oh, I love a psychic. I don't really believe in psychics, but I love to hear what they have to say. Because you never know. You just never know. Anyway. So they were like, ha, 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 ha. Brian's mom hired a psychic, but she was like, look, Brian's mama never liked me anyway. So why is she even talking to psychics about me? Now, Brian Walsh's mama said she had a psychic. Me, personally, I believe the mama was like, I don't like this daughter-in-law. I'm hiring a private investigator to follow her around and get all the proof I need, but I'm just going to say it was a psychic. Me personally, I think Brian Walsh knew his wife was having an affair or strongly suspected. And you know his mama was in his ear. You know, I never really liked her. She never really was good enough for you, blah, blah, blah. I could tell, I could feel it in my spirit that Brian Walsh was one of those husbands. You know, a son, husband. Roll your mind back. I told you the other day, Brian Walsh's daddy walked out on the mom in like 1983, but they never got a divorce. That would be bad enough, right? This very, she's from old rug money, right? She's from, Brian Walsh's mom is Persian, and her family had money from selling like Persian rugs or whatever, right? So they have long money. Brian Walsh's daddy was a prominent neurosurgeon. So, they were like on the scene and doing all the social things and whatever. Beautiful house, nice schools, nice cars. Next thing you know, the daddy walks out and it's like, here is my new lover. And the new lover was a man. Y'all. So, case scandalique. This woman has been burned and she's like, I still have a man in my life. My son, I will have him doing everything for me. He is my son's been. Now, that's the gospel according to Kathy. I don't have no proof. I don't have no facts. I just feel that in my spirit. Oh, I feel it so deeply. See, also, that's why the mama was hiring private detectives and calling them psychics. A psychic told me. Sir, ma'am, that PI agency told you. Anyway. On New Year's Eve, the BFF had a text exchange with Anna. And they're like, Happy New Year to you, blah, blah, blah. Couple days go by and Brian is like, I know we just did this a week ago. Have you seen Anna? The BFF is sick and bad and she doesn't respond for a day or so. And she's just like, oh, sorry, I've been sick. No, why? What do you mean she's missing? She's probably just busy at work. And he was like, right. Okay. Thanks so much. Feel better. The next day when the BFF is feeling better, she's like, hey, did you get in touch with Anna? And he was just like, no, well, I have work looking for her. And the BFF was like, wait. The mama-in-law was talking mess about Anna. Now she's missing, like missing. Okay. And so now the BFF is like, I'm going to spring into action, right? So she has a couple phone calls with Brian. Okay, do you want me to go to her house? Do you want blah, 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 blah? So she has a couple phone calls on the phone with Brian. And then there was a couple of phone calls with Brian and his mom. If you don't watch any other part of yesterday's testimony, go back and watch the BFF on the stand talking about having like a group phone call with Brian Walsh and his mother. The eye rolling, the child, her eyes almost fell out of her head. I was like, ma'am, your face has subtitles. It's telling us a whole other story. They were like, what happened when you were on the phone with the mom? This best friend was like, she was combative. And I was like, oh, girl, we can read your face. I am a faceologist. I can read a face, especially a BFF face. Okay. I'm picking up what you are putting down. And the defense was like, objection, more truth telling. And the judge was like, okay, don't talk mess about the boy's mama, even though she's obviously trash. That's not what she said, but that's the spirit of what she said, And so they went on to explain about, in court, they explained about the psychics and the affair, the alleged affair that the mama thought. But ultimately, the BFF was like, both Anna and Brian thought the affair allegation was crazy. Meanwhile, we now know it was 100% true. which in my opinion was just like another brick on the case of like, he didn't unfortunately unalive this lady. Then on cross-examination, they asked the BFF, did Anna work a lot? Okay, I see how y'all starting easy. Okay. I see you, defense. And the best friend was like, yeah. And they were like, right. Did Anna work on Christmas Day? And well, when you talked to Anna on Christmas Day, was she angry about Brian hunting her down? And the BFF was like, yes, she was so sick of him, child. I was sick of him too. Ooh, the conversations we had about him. That's not what she said, but that is the spirit of what I gather from her response of yes. You can read a whole lot into it. Yes, I read a whole lot into it. And so the defense asked, you knew about Will Fastow, right? You knew she had a crush on Will Fastow? And the BFF was like, yeah, I knew she had a crush. And then they were like, right, but did Anna share with Brian that she had a crush? And the BFF was like, yeah, because they had like an open and honest relationship. Now, this is the question that I have. What kind of open relationship did they have? Did they have an open relationship where they would have special guest stars in the bedroom? Or was it just like they spoke freely and were transparent? And unclear. That was never cleared up. I get the feeling that what she was trying to say is they were transparent with each other. But what Brian knew was that Anna had an open leg for old Mr. Fastow. But look, we covered that earlier in this case. Anyway, and so the defense asked, was Brian jealous of Will Fastow? And the BFF was like, no, not to me, not publicly, not to my face. Now, privately in his heart, I think he was. That's not what she said, but that's what I heard when she had her one-word answer. And then the defense asked, Anna was tired and her sleep schedule was off and all these things. And the best friend was like, yeah. Defense, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to set up, oh, she was tired. Her health was bad, despite the fact that she's over here doing bar method classes and running around and flying back and forth and everything. We know she did not die all of a sudden. Anyway, they said, the defense was like, right. So Anna wanted Brian to take responsibility, even if that meant he was going to go to jail. And BFF was like, yes, I would want him to go to jail too. But that's just me. That's not what she said. Again, the spirit of what she was given. On redirect, it was asked, but didn't Anna want her family to be together? Didn't she say she wanted the family to be together? And the BFF was like, yes, she was torn. She wanted her whole family to be together. Brian and the kids and all of them to move to DC so her life can settle down and get back down to normal. She was exhausted, but she wasn't sure what she wanted to do because this Mama Luke was just messing up the whole thing and dragging it out and making her more exhausted. And then the BFF goes on to explain about how in the relationship, Brian was so needy and he kept saying, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? I'm tired just hearing about him. I don't know. I don't know how she didn't unfortunately unalive him, but also Anna was probably not a sociopath like that Mama Luke that she married. So, okay, we know that Anna was exhausted and the last time her BFF saw her was on December 29th when they went out for drinks and karaoke. And I was like, oh my gosh, the picture has all come together. It's all clear. And then the Commonwealth rested. And I was like, oh. The Commonwealth has rested. This means that the defense gets up and might Brian Walsh take the stand? Will there be a grease spot left when he leaves the stand? We don't know. The court date ended then. And I was like, okay, wait. They still have more court business. What is this other court business? And the defense stood up and asked for a JOA, a judgment of acquittal. That's just the defense standing up saying, hey, Judge, hey, listen, they presented some evidence and stuff, but it wasn't like evidence. We don't think there was enough evidence for any jury to find him guilty. So can you just please send him home with no punishment at all? And the judge was like, ha, that's hilarious. Absolutely not. Are you out of your mind? That's not exactly what she said, but you know, that was the spirit of what she said. And so the judge was just like, okay. So we open defense's case tomorrow, and then we will go from there. The big question, will Brian Walsh take the stand? Oh, everybody wants to know. Will we be able to smell him through our TVs when he does take the stand? That's what I want to know. Because to me, he just looked like he stink. Now, I personally, Kathy the gossip from the internet, have started the rumor that he smells bad. Do I know this to be fact? No, you are not here for facts. You are here for the gossip, the rumor, and the innuendo of the situation. I will be on the edge of my seat. I will be perched. I will be ready. We will find out more on trial day 9. Listen, y'all stay safe out there, and I will see you next crime. Bye.